안녕하세요. 포터블웨이브 유겸입니다. 오늘은 좀 특별한 손님을 모시고 인터뷰를 진행하려고 합니다. 그 엠파이어 이어스사의 그 세일즈 마케팅 팀 부대표님이신 잭 씨를 함께 소개해드리겠습니다.
Yeah, so my name is Jack Vang, and I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing for Empire Ears. So everything product related, sales related, I'm primarily responsible for.
엠파이어 이어스 팬들께 인사 말씀 간단하게 남겨주시고요. 그리고 엠파이어 이어스사에 대한 간략한 소개도 함께 부탁드리겠습니다.
So first of all, thank you guys so much for having me here. The Korean market has had such a strong presence for us, especially this past year. I think it's been a very good response for XP series, far more than I would have imagined. So thank you for that. 5 years ago, and it really started with my father, Dean. He is the engineer and the founder of this company, and it really started with his passion for music. So he started playing music in his teenage years, and then he eventually started as a touring musician. But later he got married and had me, so he had to get a real job, right? So he fast forward 25 years later, he dedicated his life to microacoustics technology, primarily the hearing aid field. And then fast forward a little bit more, Empire Ears was launched, and that was his way to start again, reignite his passion for music. And that's when we launched the Zeus 14 driver, which was our first flagship.
엠파이어 이어스사가 가지고 있는 기술들에 대해 좀 궁금한데요. 먼저 그 웹폰 9부터 시작을 해볼게요. 그 웹폰 9 서브 우퍼라고 불리고 있더라고요. 서브 우퍼라는 명칭을 단 이유가 있을까요?
Sure. So the dynamic drivers have been around for a long time, but we didn't get into the dynamic driver world until last year because up until then, dynamic drivers couldn't really do what we were looking for. So we're based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and that's considered the hip hop capital of the world, right? So hip hop, rap, all that, that's all based on vibe, based on feel, right? So the 808 drum, the kick, the sub bass, it's something that when they say it's vibe, you gotta feel it. So we had to develop our own dynamic driver, which took us about 2 years. So it's a rare earth magnet that's inside of an enclosed bass reflex port with a front and rear firing in order for us to control how much low frequency response we get in sub bass rumble. So with this, it's bass that you can not only hear, but you can also feel, and that's why we refer to it as a subwoofer.
레전드 X 같은 경우에는 크로스오버 네트워크 수가 오히려 드라이버의 개수보다 더 많더라고요. 이게 도대체 어떤 기술인지, 그다음 뭐 크로스오버 네트워크를 적극적으로 쓰는 이유가 뭔지 좀 궁금합니다.
So typically a crossover, all it does is take the signal input and it divides it, right, into different channels, right? So what we've done, because balanced armatures and IDMs are so intricate, everything is interwoven with each other. So what we often find our competitors do is they'll use multiple drivers. Some drivers producing the same frequencies, right? And if you have so many drivers, but it's only divided in 2 or 3 channels, that's just a lot of the same frequencies being reproduced. So what we've done is we've dedicated more audio bands per driver than any other company. And the reason why we do that is to have complete control of every driver so we can achieve our target frequency response. So the question that you guys are asking is how or why so many more crossovers and drivers. And the answer to that is because some drivers have multiple crossovers to not only control certain aspects of the frequency range, but to also seamlessly harmonize the other drivers with them to avoid phase incoherence.
제가 알기로는 멀티 드라이버를 썼을 때 위상차를 잡는 게 굉장히 중요하다고 들었는데 거기에 대해서는 혹시 좀 특별한 노하우가 있는 건가요?
Sure. So syncs, essentially, in order to achieve that, we have to use a combination of passive and active crossovers, as well as dampening as well, in combination with capacitors. So all of those mixed in with the drivers kind of make up for syncs, and that's kind of how we achieve the phase coherence that we have.
ARC 코팅에 대해서 여쭤볼 텐데 그 코팅을 통해서 공진을 잡을 수가 있다, 보다 더 깨끗한 신호를 전달할 수가 있다라고 했는데 거기에 대해서 조금만 더 자세히 설명 좀 해주시겠어요?
ART stands for anti-resonance compound, and that was actually originally designed for the W9. So, as mentioned, the W9, it's that rare earth magnet, but it's in an enclosure. But what was happening was that when it reached a certain frequency, like around 20 hertz and below, it would actually cause vibrations. So when vibrations are caused, frequencies are lost, and it actually started sounding kind of tinny. So something that I've learned from other industries is sound deadening. So we've actually created a conformal coating that when it's applied and it's cured, it effectively adds more to it, which dampens the sound overall.
기술에 대한 설명을 어느 정도 들은 것 같고 이제 제품들에 대해서 좀 살펴볼 텐데 우선 제품명이 좀 특이한 것 같아요. 엠파이어 이어스타의 여러 가지 제품들을 보니까 레전드 X, 네미시스, 벤티지, 뭐 브라바도, 팬텀, 뭐 이번에 발키리랑 뭐 레이스까지 그런 제품명을 어떻게 짓는지 누구 아이디어예요? 제품명에 대한 것들은?
So generally speaking, we have themes, but for the X and EP series, with the exception of the EDR and ESR, how the names came up as I would spend hours and hours and hours listening to it, and when I do that, I become really acquainted to it, and every IEM has its own personality, and at the end of those sessions, once I become acquainted, I give it a name.
처음에 신제품명을 봤을 때 레이스랑 발키리란 그 이름을 보고 한국 유저들은 아마 가장 먼저 떠올렸던 게 스타크래프트라는 게임일 겁니다. 그 안에 이제 테란 종족에 있는 그 비행기들 이름이 두 개인데 혹시나 그 제품명에 연관이라도 있는 겁니까?
So first and foremost, I am a StarCraft fan, but unfortunately it was not named after StarCraft characters. I'm actually a large automotive enthusiast, so the Rolls-Royce Wraith and the Aston Martin Valkyrie. But of course, as mentioned in the previous question, it's a name that came to me because when you listen to the Wraith and you close your eyes, it has very lush, intimate vocals. It's almost as if they were there. It's just that lush, just that real. So I definitely encourage, if you haven't listened to it yet, try it with your eyes closed. Pick a song you know really, really well. And then for Valkyrie, the Valkyries, it represents purity. So that's exactly what came to my mind. Was it's a very no nonsense, powerful IEM at a price that at a performance that performs at flagship levels without the price tag.
두 제품에 다 EST를 사용하셨어요. 무역 그 트위터 재생 용도로. 근데 엠파이어뿐만 아니라 작년 말부터 여러 가지 이어폰 브랜드들이 그 정전형 트위터를 사용하고 있는 추세인데 그 EST를 사용한 이유가 있을까요?
Sure. So we've actually known about the Electrostatic Driver for almost 2 years now, but it went through constant revisions, and we just didn't have it in a place where we were comfortable with it yet. So we noticed that when the manufacturer finally released it, everybody was kind of in a rush to get it out. But it's like what I told my father, Dean, we won't do it until we feel that we've done something different with it. And with Wraith and Valkyrie, we definitely has. So the smoke's going to clear with those two models.
최종적으로 완성된 그 기술이 AVEC이라는 것 같은데 그 AVEC이라는 것에 대해서 좀 자세히 알고 싶어요.
So yeah, definitely. That's one reason why it took us a while to get to this point, because initially we had some issues with the electrostat and the W9. So the thing with the electrostatic drivers is that they're very low voltage by design. So it's very easy to overpower all the other frequencies. So we had to pioneer a new technology called IBEC, which stands for Empire Intelligent Variable Electrostatic Control. So that's essentially, it's very similar to syncs, but it's dedicated just for the electrostats. So the electrostats, they have a remarkable operating range of 4 kilohertz to 100 kilohertz. So there's nothing below 4 kilohertz, but so in the example of Wraith, it uses 4 electrostats, right?
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've actually divided them to a mid-high, a high, and a super high. So by doing that, we're truly finding the potential of the electrostat while enhancing the other frequencies below it and not overpowering them to harmonize them. So that's essentially what syncs is. Syncs and IBEC together.
레이스 같은 경우에는 방금 말씀하셨던 것처럼 그 4개의 EST를 사용을 했는데 그 바람인지 그 레이스에는 W9이 빠져 있더라고요. 그래서 제가 여태까지 들었던 엠파이어스타의 저역의 장점이 있다고 느꼈던 게 W9 때문이 아닐까 생각을 했었는데 굳이 W9을 빼면서까지 4개의 EST를 사용한 이유가 있을까요?
So let me tell you a little bit about Project Wraith first. So as mentioned earlier, our first flagship was the Zeus 14. So when we released the Legend X and Phantom last year, there was a void for those who were seeking that very pure, all-balanced armature sound that we had. So while Legend X saw a lot of success, we still had a lot of people requesting this type of tuning. So that's so Wraith kind of pays tribute to that, and it's the true successor to Zeus. But it will be our final all-balanced armature tuning. And yeah, while it may not have the impact of the W9 driver in terms of quantity, the extension is there, and I believe that with the utilization of IVAC and syncs, it's about as good as BA-based would get. So I definitely encourage you to try it. But yeah, in terms of the actual comparison, W9 is still superior in the lower sub frequencies.
인터뷰를 들어오기 전에 레이스를 잠깐 들어봤어요. 근데 생각보다 저역이 굉장히 풍성하게 나는 편이어서 좀 놀랐습니다.
Wow, thank you.
You just want to
Thank
say
you.
that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we really, before we said goodbye to all balance armature tuning, Dean, he really wanted to maximize everything that we could from the low end to the high end for balance armatures.
이제 이펙트 오디오하고 그 콜라보레이션에 대해서 좀 여쭤볼 게 있는데 그 이번에도 두 제품에 모두 이펙트 오디오 케이블이 사용이 됐습니다. 혹시 엠파이어 기어스하고 이펙트 오디오는 굉장히 각별한 사이를 유지하는 것처럼 보여요. 거기에 대한 그 계기가 있었을까요?
Sure. So I met Soo-young maybe around 3 years ago. Him and I are around the same age, and it was around that same time that both companies were kind of emerging. So we had similar visions to offer the best products possible in our respective industries. And as we kind of grew along, we thought the idea of collaborations would be good. And I've always been a cable believer, so and Dean as well. And all of our previous flagships before had premium cables, but after we met Soo-young and Effect Audio, it just seemed like it'd be a symbiotic for us to use their products because it's always complemented it so well.
두 브랜드 첫 번째 콜라보 제품 제가 아더라고 알고 있는데 그 아더는 누구 아이디어였습니까?
Soo-young from Effect Audio actually started it. When he first told me the idea, I thought he was crazy. I was like, nobody's gonna pay for this. But at that time, we were mostly dominant in the American market, so I had no idea. He totally proved me wrong, but because of Dean's unconventional crossover tuning style, I think Soo-young believed that we could tune the signature that he was seeking for. So the original Arthur was based off of Zeus, and the King Arthur, which is our latest collaboration, is still essentially based off of Zeus, with an additional mid and high driver, as well as a couple additional crossovers to add some more detailed retrieval, as well as some more sub bass.
이펙트 오디오에서 상당히 많은 종류의 케이블을 지금 출시하고 있는데 그것들 중에서 엠파이어 스타의 이어스폰과 이펙트 오디오의 케이블을 매칭할 때 어떻게 선택을 하시는지도 좀 설명을 해주세요.
So they've actually been very gracious, and we have all their cables at our lab, and once Dean finishes developing, we actually listen to every single one, as well as other cable companies as well, and that's how we ultimately determine the pairing.
아더에 대해서 잠깐 농담삼아 이야기하셨지만 누가 이 이어폰에 이만한 금액을 쓰겠느냐라고 말씀하셨잖아요. 꼭 엠파이어스뿐만 아니라 요즘에 나오는 이어폰들이 가격이 너무나 고가로 올라가고 있는 추세인 것 같은데 꼭 그래야만 할까요? 아니면 거기에 대해서 좀 어느 정도 어떠한 생각을 가지고 있으신지 좀 궁금해요.
I think there are a lot of companies out there, and I won't name out of respect, that are maybe intentionally pricing it just that high, maybe for a cash grab or marketing ploy or whatnot. But in the cases of like us or Effect Audio, it actually hurts people like us because we put so much of our efforts, time, and resources into development, into R&D processes, all those things. It's all a labor of love, and I know that when the end user listens to it, they'll know that and they'll feel that. So I just wanted to let everyone know who's watching that what we price it at and whatnot, it's all relative to how much we put into it.
제가 드릴 질문은 다 끝난 것 같고요. 마지막으로 이제 국내 헤드파이 유저들께 마지막 말씀 한번 남겨주시면 좋겠습니다.
First, thank you so much for having me on here. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and it's totally surreal. I would not have imagined that we would have had a Korean fan base, a growing one at this. So I'm really humbled. I'm just so grateful. And you know, I look forward to returning and potentially having another interview with you again. Yeah. And if you guys are new to the channel, like and subscribe.
네, 지금까지 엠파이어 이어스사의 잭 씨를 모시고 인터뷰를 진행해봤습니다. 오늘 상당히 많은 이야기를 들을 수가 있었고요. 저희는 또 다른 좋은 컨텐츠로 여러분께 찾아뵙도록 하겠습니다. 네, 감사합니다. 피스!